Oh yeah, we're back in the world of Diablo. Whew.
Hail, wanderer. Laid before you is the bounty of history. I see. These vermin imagine they can take our land as they please. We must often remind them otherwise. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, good morning, man. How's it going? Just creeping along. You know, AARPGs. ARPGs aren't really my style of game. I'm more of an MMO player. I don't really like isometric games. Well, we're doing the best we can. Damn. Yeah, I really dislike the controls of ARPGs. Like, I don't like clicking to move. You can tell, like, the way I move and the way I'm clicking, I'm not comfortable with playing these types of games. So I feel like a fish out of the water. I'm doing the best I can, but it's very uncomfortable. Hopefully I'll get better at it, but this feels weird. Very strange. That's weird.
Oh, she's gone. I can't believe it.
Good of you to come. Pity you didn't bring an army of siege works.
Elias is here?
Gone to the palace, no doubt. Behind the high wall with the gates barred behind him. We can't get through.
You know who can.
Zelaya.
Yeah. How many messages did I send? Huh? How long has Oyun been missing? Trapped in there with those butchers? She may be the only one left who knows of the tunnel.
If she's still alive. If this tunnel exists at all.
You don't trust me.
Of course not. You're a thief. Useful years ago, true. But it's clear you have some other reason to seek this. Or you.
Not your business.
If I were to look for Oyun, where would I start?
She has a house in the market square. We were supposed to meet there before, but I couldn't get close.
Tried to come back alive. Not convinced this Oyun is worth the risk, but perhaps you'll prove me wrong.
Shit. Have a little faith for once, old man.
Okay, so don't sit on the pulsating goo. Just like, yeah. Sorry. Damn. How the fuck that map got open? Oh my goodness. Didn't I see Swarm?
you seen someone named Oyun?
I don't know. The cannibals are rounding everyone up, killing, feasting. But a few, they drag away. The prisons, I heard. Why would these monsters keep anyone alive?
The prisons. Maybe there is a chance Oyun lives. I'm looking for someone named Oyun.
The cannibals killed them all.
I'm looking for someone named Oyun.
The cannibals killed them all.
This is what's been happening lately when I start to stream. I'm just so freaking tired. Days have been taking too much out of me.
Are you here? Who's there? You're not him. Who are you? The chopping. It stopped and I thought he was coming for me next.
Your friend Zolaya sent me.
She's still here?
You'll see her soon. We need to get through the market.
I know another way. It's safer. The old prison wing. It was sealed off years ago after an earthquake.
Where did the cannibals come from?
Here. They were prisoners. The wall ahead. That used to be the entrance to the old prison wall. Can we break through? No! I thought it would be safe this way.
We'll get through. Stay close.
Hey Mula, what's up? Yeah, well, it's definitely challenging, but I just don't like the isometric view, Mula. But it's challenging in that there's definitely, you know, You get surrounded by a lot of enemies, and it can be tough to move around and try to avoid getting hit. And there's definitely a skill to it. You know, there's like different ways to build your character. I mean, the system here is, you know, it's pretty in depth for character building. But yeah, I mean, I'd much rather have an MMO where I have the full 3D camera, you know, rotation. I don't like click to move. In fact, I hate it. So it's rough, but it's fun. I mean, it's pretty fun. The story's pretty good so far. But I would much rather have a really good MMO than something like, you know, a hack and slash like this. You know? So I agree with you, man. Some people love it though. Yeah. Kind of. A lot of it has to do with how you build your character, though. So I agree that that's what it looks like. It looks like you're just grinding through mobs, but there is a strategy to what you're doing, you know? But once you get the right gear and get the right build, it's probably just going to look like what you're saying, like you're just blasting mobs, but... I would much rather play an MMO though, like a good MMO with like good, you know, development systems. So someone who's just watching the game who has never played it, it just looks like you're just grinding through mobs. But there's like certain, like setting up certain abilities to poison mobs to debuff them, and then hit them with and then do shadow imbuement, and then follow up with my twisting blades. And so there's like ways certain, but you know, it's kind of like being a rogue in World of Warcraft, where you're gonna do certain things, you know, do certain abilities before other abilities to get the best benefit. Same thing, Black Desert. So there are rotations and skill orders that you want to learn. And of course there's a ton of talent builds going on here, but I'm still like a complete noob at this game, to be honest. Like I'm gonna get my poison trap up, right? Even there, I still took damage, though. Foxhole. No, I don't think I've seen a game called Foxhole. What's Foxhole about? This whole area reminds me of Diablo 1 so much.
Look! A crack in the wall!
Foxhole, huh?
We made it. I can't stop my hands from shaking. Give me a moment. Yes. Where is she?
Foxhole. I'll take a look. Looks like the game has been around a while. I don't know, it looks like an FPS. I don't really play FPSs anymore, man.
Hello everyone, today I'd like to talk to you about a game called Foxhole. If you're like me, you're constantly uninstalling old games and bringing in newer, fresher games, but there's always going to be those few titles that you keep installed no matter what, because you know you're going to keep going back to them. For me, that's Foxhole. After not uninstalling Foxhole for a year, I'd like to talk to you about why I love
It looks like another
this game so
isometric
much.
though.
Song and
Yeah, you fucking like that.
I do.
Order. Daddy's gonna spank that little ass.
Play of the game.
They have the game. What are we playing? Overwatch? Hear how we're playing the Overwatch music here? I don't want to watch this video. It's already demonetized my video just by playing Blizzards. Probably.
Like I was saying, Foxhole.
I don't know. It's hard to watch a video here without these guys being silly. 1 second. Can someone just give me like a regular video?
This is Foxhole, the massive multiplayer online persistent war game where battles rage 24/7.
I don't want to watch Asmongold because he's just gonna react to somebody else. If I'm gonna watch a, yeah, I don't like to watch people reacting to other people's videos. If I'm gonna watch somebody reacting to someone else's video, I'd rather just watch the other video.
Until one side wins. This game puts thousands of players against each other from all across the world in a war that can last over a month, testing not only battlefield tactics, but also the drive to play day in and day out. Whether they're Warden or Colonial, players must continuously gather raw materials to refine into bombs and tanks, deliver this material to the front line, maintain massive sprawling bases.
So basically, it's just like Dune, right? Or it's just like a lot of the older games, right? It's like an RTS. What was it? Dune. Oh, what was it called? Oh my god, it wasn't called Dune. See, this one. I used to play this game, Dune 2000.
That is the prophecy.
It's So in this game, what you did was you constantly built up your, you know what I mean? You built up your base, you built up your harvesters, you built up your troops, and you had to fight off enemy troops. But it was a constant thing. Like, you constantly were like winning, losing, winning, losing. It was this tug of war going back and forth. And of course, if you're really good, you're going to be winning more than you're losing. But that's what this looks like. It looks like you're constantly refortifying positions. Then there's probably going to be big battles where you lose a lot of your fortifications and you have to rebuild them. I mean, really, New World, like Amazon's New World, that's what New World was supposed to be like. Like, when New World was an all straight up PvP game, that's what it was. It was like that. It was like, because I played in the early alphas of New World, and it was like you'd build up a base, people would attack your base, destroy your walls, break into your compound, you would slay them all. Then you had to go out and harvest a bunch of materials and build your base back up, because now you got these big gaping holes in your walls, you know what I mean?
Bases and slug it out in combat that could see you fighting over a 50-meter stretch of ground.
Now, I like that big-ass cannon. That's the real deal. Like, this is a real gun that the Germans had back in, you know.
Is created by the players. It's the ultimate war sandbox, but what would happen if the enemy just never showed up? Well, before we get to that, let's give a quick recap of what has happened in Foxhole over the past few months. With the game's official release out of early access in September 2022, there was a massive influx of players. Player-made industrial buildings, trains, enormous tanks, flamethrowers. There was so much new content that even people who hadn't picked up the game in years were ready to jump back in. Before 1.0, wars on average would have a couple thousand players on
So this sounds like this game's been around a long time.
at any given time at most. So when we looked at the Steam charts and saw that the game was peaking at over 11,000, that was insanity. These crazy numbers require the devs to create multiple wars, or shards, since the servers simply couldn't handle that enormous new player base. Now, when we think of a shard, think of it as simply a copy of the game, a different instance of the war. So the quote-unquote main war, or the one that has been raging back and forth since the game first came out, the one that's full of sweaty vets and enormous regiments, that one would be played on Able Shard. This would be the 96th war between the two factions, and by many is considered the real war. Baker Shard would be open for spillover players, and this was actually a reopening since it had been added to the game temporarily in the past as well in order to handle the issue of overpopulation on big updates. Although this would not be the main shard, it still had a significant community behind it since there had been players who had played in the past that eventually went back to Able when Baker was shut down. Baker would now be on its 25th war. Charlie Shard was also opened, and it was promoted as the ultimate new player shard where devs made sure that people could
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like my kind of game just because I don't like this camera view, you know? I mean, I've never really played too many war games like this where you have like all, you know, tanks and all that. And I mean, I never have played any that are like this, where you have thousands of people controlling all these different types of armaments and weapons. So I've never played a game like this. I mean, it looks like fun, but it's one of those games you definitely would want to have friends that you play it with. I don't think you'd want to go into this and just play by yourself. You know, you'd want to have a guild or a clan or a bunch of people where you work together, and it could be, you know, really fun. But I struggle with that because I have a hard time playing with other people. I'm just very, not that I can't, but they have to be of the same mindset as me. It's always hard to find people in my mindset. There's too many people that play games today that are just like go, 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 rush, rush, rush. And I like to take my time. I'm much more like laid back. And so when people are like that mentality of like do go, 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 rush, 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 that always turns me off like right away. But definitely, definitely, it sounds like a cool game. But something that sounds like it'd be a lot to get into at this point since it's been around a long time. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, it's like this game's it's like as much as I mean, Diablo's kind of fun, but it's like people who get really into this game, like I don't really see. I kind of agree with you, Mulo. I don't really see the appeal of a game like this. Not for me, anyway. Like I don't see the long-term appeal. It feels like a lot of grindy. It feels like a lot of repetitive stuff, which I know MMOs can be very repetitive too, but it just feels like there. It's not like you're. I mean, there's crafting in this game, but it's really basic, at least from what I've seen so far. You know, you could grab some herbs and make some potions. It's pretty straightforward. And the world is not an open world game. When you think about a game like Diablo, it reminds me of any other Diablo because the worlds are very. You see whenever you see worlds like this where there's all these little pathways. It's like, well, you can't move here. It's like solid rock, and it's just like a dungeon. See all these like little like pathways. Like an open world MMO, you could just walk in a straight line. You could say, well, I want to go here, and I'm here. I could literally just say, I'm gonna walk in a straight line from here to here. But you can't do that. And you can't even come close to doing that in Diablo, and that's what separates, I think, a real true open world game from Legion event. But I mean, there's a lot more to Diablo, obviously, that I haven't uncovered yet. But I'm already kind of bored of this game. I've played this game for a couple weeks, and I'm already bored of it, to be honest. And it's not that the game, it's not that the combat's necessarily that. It's really the camera view, like it's really the controls, like having to click and drag and move around this way. It's just not the way I like to move. So, anyways. But yeah, the other game looked kind of cool. It's just too bad we don't have a good MMO right now. I mean, there's Blue Protocol. We could try to set up Blue Protocol. I know there is a guide on how to do it. Maybe I'll try to do that tonight. Like, the Japanese version.
Set with it. Blue Protocol is launching.
So maybe we'll try to set up Blue Protocol. Anyways, I got a new guitar in the mail today too, so I've been kind of mucking around with my new guitar. It's more of a project guitar because it like it's a real cheap Squier guitar, and I got it because I already had like Jazzmaster pickups to put in it. It's just kind of a project thing, so I've been kind of spending a lot of time mucking around with that today. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm it's hard for me to like, for whatever reason, I just love MMOs. I love massively multiplayer online role playing games. I love, especially when they're fantasy based. I just love that type of game, and I like there to be people to play with. The problem is the way people approach MMOs in today's world is just not the way I like to play them. They try to rush through the content. They try to min-max stuff, and I just don't really like playing that way. I mean, I understand min-maxing is fine, and I, of course, like anybody else, I want my character to do well and play well and do good damage or do good healing or whatever. So I am going to. I don't want to call it min-max, but I'm going to look for builds that work for my play style. I'm going to look for builds that complement the way I like to play, which isn't always the way everybody else likes to play. In fact, I typically play games differently than the way most people play games. Like some of the most fun I've had in World of Warcraft in the past couple of years is when I leveled the melee hunter from 1 to 60 in classic hardcore, and didn't even use a bow. I mean, I was just I had like 3 attack abilities from level 1 to 60, and then I had my pet, and that was actually some of the most fun I've had in WoW and in quite a while actually. So I think in general, if I'm playing a game that I've played a lot, I'd like to do stuff in the game that I've never done before. So, and I started to it started to feel like in World of Warcraft everything I was doing was just a repeat. It's like, oh, I've already done this before, so it's really boring. It's like I'm just repeating myself. And in Diablo, I don't know, Diablo's a completely different game, so it's weird. I find in Diablo it's hard to look at anything in Diablo 4 that excites me. It's hard for me to say, oh, actually the most exciting thing about Diablo 4 was just the transmog. Was honestly just trying to run around and find gear that I could transmog to make my character look cool. And even then, your character only really looks cool on the character's loading screen, or in some of the cinematics, because in general, the way the camera's set up in the game, you barely can see your character. So it's not, and I think that's another thing about MMOs with the normal cameras. You get a much better view of your character. You get a much better view of the world that you're in. Like Diablo has great graphics. Like there's some really cool graphics in Diablo, but it's the same thing in Lost Ark. Like Lost Ark had amazing graphics, and the combat system in Lost Ark, in my opinion, is far superior to the combat system in Diablo 4. I think Lost Ark has a much better combat system. I enjoyed the combat in Lost Ark infinitely more than I do in Diablo. But I find Diablo's combat, from what I've played so far, is just a little bit more challenging sometimes. Like sometimes you get, and it's because they lock you in. Like you're in a lot of dungeons. You're in a lot of underground dungeons in Diablo 4 where when you go into a boss fight, they seal you into the room. Like the entrance closes up and you can't get back out. And if you're doing hardcore like I am, if you die, you can't resurrect. So, being locked into a room with an enemy boss can be a little bit daunting. Now they do give you a way out with the scrolls of escape, which you can basically just port out instantly. But if you don't have any of those, and shit goes down and goes bad, man, there's, you can't just take a time out, man. You're history, man. Anyways, I'm gonna look at, I don't know, I'm gonna go do something else for tonight for a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna go play a different game or go play my guitar or something because I'm not feeling the Diablo vibe. I did upload, if you guys are interested, I did upload quite a bit of because Blizzard actually has the Diablo soundtrack on their main channel. So if you go to here, on the Diablo, they have their Diablo soundtrack here, which is, let's see, 47 tracks. But if you go around the web or go on YouTube trying to find the individual tracks, it's not always easy to find the individual tracks. So I went ahead and just, recorded some of these individually and put them on my channel. You can go into my channel here and see that I did put some of these Diablo tracks up individually. Some of these are really, I tried to pick the songs that I liked, like this one. Some of the tracks are actually, the music's really good in Diablo, actually. But one thing I found that was interesting is the guy who tends to, the guy that I liked, like as far as like, let's see, I'll show you. The composer that I liked was Ted Reedy. So if you go through all these songs, the ones that are done by Ted Reedy are typically almost all the ones I liked are Ted Reedy. I found something else out on YouTube. Like, sometimes you get like a playlist on the right side of the video here. To get that, you have to go all the way down and you'll see the chapters. I mean, you'll see the chapters to the right of the video. And sometimes you don't see that, but so you want to go into more description. Like here, let's reload this. So you come to here and you see the Diablo soundtrack, but we don't see the chapters. So what you want to do is just click more, show more, and then the chapters will be down here, and then you want to click view all. Once you click view all, it'll put them up here to the right, which is actually really useful for just navigation. So that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah, anyways, I will catch you guys later. I'm gonna think of something else to play. It's just that I can't play these isometric games. I can't play these click to move. They just, in fact, after playing these games, after playing Diablo just for like a week, it's like it feels like I'm playing a video game with my hands handcuffed together. It feels like my hands are handcuffed together, my feet are handcuffed together. I just feel so restricted. I feel so restricted. Like my hands on the keyboard just don't feel right. It all feels really incredibly awkward, and just I don't like the way it feels as far as like the way you're controlling the character and the way you're seeing the world. And that it's frustrating. Anyways, hope you guys have a good night, and I will catch you guys next time, whatever it is I decide to play. I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something. And I hope you guys are having a good one. And I'll see you next time, man. Peace out.